Welcome everybody to the Office 2013 Tips and Timesavers. Your trainers are myself, Paul Carruthers, and we've got Pete Skelhorn as well. In today's session, we're going to cover a little bit on MS Teams, Windows, Word, Excel, OneNote, and a little bit of PDFs at the end. And we'll make a start with Microsoft Teams. Grand. So we're going to start by changing to focus mode. So this improves your view as you know, so you can watch presentations on screen. So to do this, this will remove the camera bar at the top. So if you could all do this now on your screen, there is at the top right, there's a little 3 dots, and it's more actions. It's actually called the ellipsis, but we call it the 3 dots because that's what it is. So if you could all click on that now for me, and you should have a section for focus. An icon for focus. If you could all click on that, it will make your screen a little bit better view. And if you want to click on it again, you can then select full screen to make it slightly bigger again if anybody can't see. Great. If you're running a team session and you're presenting, you can actually use Alt and Tab on your keyboard to change applications on screen without closing the application. So I'm just going to do that now. So if I hold Alt and press Tab, you can see that I've got a number of screens open, and I can navigate by pressing Tab. I'll navigate through each one until I find the one that I want to use. You can avoid being disturbed and change your status on Teams. I can't on this one. Just 1 second. I'm juggling multiple screens here, so please bear with me. So we've got the chat open for this session, and if you at the top here, you've got your profile. If you click on your profile, you can see that I'm currently presenting as my status. Teams will automatically update if you're in a meeting or on a call or something like that. It will update automatically. But if you have a piece of work that you want to complete, and you want to kind of stop people from contacting you just so you can get it finished, you can change your status just in here, to appear away, do not disturb, and hopefully nobody will get in touch with you and bother you while you try to finish the piece of work. Teams has a very powerful search engine, so you don't have to waste time looking through conversations and Teams channels to find something in the search menu. This also works if you use Teams to store any documentation. This will find any documentation that's stored on Teams as well. So I'm just going to type the word text in here because I've got some text flow documentation. You can see that I've got some top hits, which is this text flow thing. It searches through people, group chats, and Teams. So it's an easy way to find things on Teams if you need to look for it. Also handy tool tip with the search is if you use the / it actually gives you lots of commands that you can use in Teams, so you can set your status and things like that more easily. So yeah, you can do that from this menu. There's too many to list, but you can have a look through in your own time. There are a number of shortcuts that can be used in Teams as well. Control N starts a new chat, so I'm just going to press that now on my screen, and it'll start a new chat on the left-hand side, and then I can invite people to that chat. Shift and M puts you on mute, on and off. I'm not going to do that now, because otherwise you won't be able to hear me. And again, with the camera, you use Control Shift and O. That will turn the camera on and off. And Control E will start a new search as well. These are all in the guide, so don't worry too much about making note of them. Whilst you're in a chat, you can actually get the attention of an individual by using the @ command. So if we're in a chat and I want to message Pete in this chat, because if you've got quite a few busy chats, you just do this and it should bring up Pete. So I've typed the first few letters in and the @ symbol, and I'll click Pete, and then it'll direct a message directly to Pete. This will flash up on his screen, even if he's got the chat muted, because he's obviously being spoken to directly. Bookmarking chat messages is something that's quite useful if you have a message here. So I'm going to use Pete's message here, and you can see if I click on it, I get a little menu. I can do some nice emojis too, but if you click on more options, you can actually save this message. So that's now saved as a message, so I can come back to it later. And the way to find those is to go up to your profile in the top right-hand corner and click on Saved. This will then bring up any chats that or any messages that I've got saved, and I can just navigate to them by clicking on them. And that's the end of the Microsoft tutorial. Sorry, Microsoft Teams tutorial. Have we got any questions, Pete? Not yet. I can see they're not any, is there? I can see them on screen. Great. I'll move rid of Teams now, so we can get rid of that from this screen. Great. So next up, we've got Windows, and I'm just going to pin some applications to my taskbar. Now, this actually is very useful. If you don't know about this, this is something that you'll find useful. So at the bottom of the screen, you've got your taskbar, and you've got numerous applications on here. If you right-click on an application, so I'm going to use PowerPoint in this instance, and it should bring up a menu, and you've got your now that I've right-clicked, I should have a list of my last frequently used documents. I've actually got an icon here for pin to taskbar. So if I click on that icon, it will now stay on my taskbar, even if it's closed. It'll stay there, and I can open things from that icon. And if you want to, if you find that you're not using it anymore, you can just right-click on it again, and then click on pin, and then it'll disappear once you've closed the application. Similarly, you can actually do this with files. So if you've got the application pinned, like I've got this Excel application pinned, if I right-click on it, I've actually got some pinned items already, but if I hover over one, I've got to have opened it so that it knows it's there, but then you can just pin it, and it will send it into my pinned menu, and it won't disappear from there, even if you've opened loads and loads of documents. So it'll always appear on there until you click the unpin button, which is on the right-hand side again, to remove it, and then it'll move back into my frequently recent documents. You can also save things to your start area. So if you've got files or folders that you use regularly, I'm just going to use this one here. So if you navigate to the folder, you right click on it, and you select pin to start. Once you've done that, it will appear in your start menu. So you should have a nice little menu here. I've got some other applications on here, as you can see, and then that file has now appeared here so that I can access it nice and easy. And then if you find that you're not using it anymore, again, you right click on it, and then you just unpin from the start. There are some handy keyboard shortcuts that you can use while just in Windows. Windows D returns you to your desktop. So if I press Windows D, it'll take me straight to my desktop. So you can minimize all of your applications at once, and you don't have to keep minimizing everything and waste time. Windows L will lock your computer, so we don't have to go through the Control-Alt-Delete way of doing it. You can just press Windows L and it'll straight away lock it. And there are various others that we'll include in the user guide. And that's the end of the tips for Windows. Have you got any questions? It's quite a bunch today. Great. Okay. Right, we'll move on to Microsoft Word, and I'll just open up the file. Just 1 second. Great. Okay. So I'm just going to use one of our user guides, and once we've opened it, on the right-hand side, you get a little bookmark that says "Welcome back," and if you click on that, it'll actually take you to where you were last working in the document. So it's like a nice, easy way to just get back to where you were instead of scrolling for ages to get to the bottom of a document. You can also press Shift and 5 to get you to do that if that icon's not there. I'm just going to scroll up this list. This is not a new feature, but it's a really useful feature, and you can actually rearrange items in a list. Clicking and dragging can actually be quite problematic when you're trying to move things in a list, but there is a nice easy way to do it. So we're going to move this review up and down the list. So if I press Alt and Shift, it will move up and down the list, as you can see there. And if I just use the up and down arrows on the keyboard, I can move it up and down the list anywhere I like. And that just nice and clean and moves it up and down. If you have a lot of documents a lot of documentation to review on screen, you can actually use read mode. It's a little bit easier on the eye, and it's quite a handy tool if you've got like a big document to read. What you do is you go to View, and there's a little button there that says Read Mode. You click on Read Mode, and it will put it on screen. And you can zoom in and out so that you can see the screen. I don't know, is that appearing okay on my screen here? So you can zoom in and out on there. It's readable for myself, but yeah, you can have a play around with that as well. Yeah. And then to come out, you just go View at the top and then go back to editing your document. So it is handy if you're just reading. There is a handy way of actually getting around the document as well, using the navigation pane. So in View again, there's a little tick box here that says navigation pane. If I just activate that, you can now see you've got a way of just getting around the document via the headings. So you can just click on them and it'll take you straight to that section. So what you have to do to make sure that works is to use the heading styles at the top when you're in Home. So as long as you're using those, it'll pick them up and you can navigate around. If you are using pictures like we do with guides quite a lot of the time, we need to make sure that it can be moved around on screen and we can have it around text. So if you click on it, and then you get this little layout options button appear, and you click on that. We tend to use tight because you can move this around, and it can be put in the middle of a sentence, at the end of a sentence, wherever you want, and it's quite handy instead of it kind of being a after or before text. So you can have things a little bit more succinct on page. To quickly highlight an entire sentence, you press the Control key. Let's find one that's got multiple sentences in it. And then click on a sentence, and it'll highlight that sentence in that paragraph. So if you wanted to take a quick copy, that's a nice way to do it. You can also use a double click to highlight a single word. So if I double click on marker, it'll highlight marker. If I want to treble click, it will highlight an entire paragraph. And it'll also highlight the pictures adjoined with that paragraph if you've got any in type. And then if you press Control A on your keyboard, that'll highlight the entire document. Another handy feature that Word has is auto text. Some people do use this, but some people don't know about it. If you've got any paragraphs or like letters or addresses that you use regularly, or just anything that you use regularly in typing, you can use auto text, otherwise known as building blocks. And to create an auto text, I'll just find one here. So we'll use this. We'll use this this heading here, and we go to Insert, and then we go to this Quick Parts menu, and down to Auto Text in that menu, and then we save that selection to the text gallery at the bottom. So if we do that, it'll bring up a little menu, and we give it a nice name. So we'll just call this Rewinding, just for the purposes of this. So you give it a nice nickname. Please make sure that it's longer than 4 letters, because you need 4 letters to activate auto text for it to appear on screen. So I'm just going to click OK. And then if I'm here and I want to insert that in here, now that it's there, you should get a little pop-up on screen that says Rewinding and Reviewing Dictation. And then you press enter and it'll insert that for you. So that can actually be quite large. So obviously I've done a very small example, but if you have got a big paragraph or anything like that you want to put in, then you can do that using that tool. Other useful shortcuts that Word has is the thesaurus. So if I highlight a word, I'll highlight dictation, and if I press Shift and F7, it'll bring up the thesaurus on the right-hand side, and it'll give me a different word I can use. You can also use spell check. So if you just press F7, that will automatically do a spell check. I know Word does do a spell check, but if you want to run it, you can do it that way. It will ask, I've got a word highlighted, so it will ask if I want to do the rest of the document, so I'll say yes. And then it'll go through all of the words it thinks need changing. You've got find and replace and go to. So there's a couple of ways to get to this. If you press F5, it will open up straight away to go to, so you can navigate through a document, but you can also then find and replace in this menu. Another way to do that is to press Control F, and it will bring you up into the search, it's the navigation window, and it will find a word for you. Yeah, it's come up on my screen. These ones. Yeah, so you've got headings, pages, and you can just navigate through pages, and then you've got results, which I've typed in the word dictation, and it's how many times it's come up in the document. And then finally, with Word, if you want to insert a page break because you're at the end of a chapter and you want to have a new page, you just press Control and Enter, and it'll put a new page in for you, a page break in for you. And that's the end of the Word tips. Do we have any questions? Okay. So I've now got Excel open. So next it's Excel. Flash Fill is a smart filling tool that picks up on patterns in data. So I'll show you what it means first, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So we've got a first column here that's got first name and surname in it, but we actually want to split that out into first name and surname into two separate columns. So we've typed in the first one so that it knows what we're doing. And then if I click here and then go to data at the top, and then if I navigate to the data tools section, there is a flash fill button. And if I press flash fill, it will automatically put in the names, first names in the first column. And then when I do the second names, it will do the second names as well. It doesn't handle three names very well. So yeah, just if it's better if it's first name and surname only. Okay, so there's a quick way to do formulas in Excel as well. So if you want to do the sum formula really quickly, like we've got a little table here that's got some figures in it, and we just want to quickly put it in. We press Alt and then press equals, and it will automatically put in the sum for us. All we need to do is press Enter, and it will add those all together. And then in that cell, you've got the little right-hand corner. You want the cursor to turn to a little black plus rather than it being white. And if you double click that, it'll automatically fill until the next break in the data. So if you've got a missing line, it will stop before that line. If you have a document where you want to see what formulas it contains, you can make them visible by pressing Control and Accent, which is the key just below Escape. So I'm just going to do that now. And it makes the columns a little bit wider, but you can then see the formulas on screen in this column here. And then to bring it back, you just press the same key. So that's the Accent key in Control. You can combine text from two different cells. So we've got the names again. So we're actually going to now return them back to being into one column. And to do that, it's just a little simple formula. So obviously using equals to start a formula off, and we're going to select the first cell, which is A1. So we want Ned's name in there, and then you have to put in an ampersand in first, and then a quotation mark. So the quotation mark is going to start off the space in between. So because we want to insert a space between the names so that it doesn't just come through Ned Smith as one word. So I'm going to put a space in here. So there's just a little gap. So you can put anything you want in there. So if you wanted to put a slash in there or a dot, you can do that. And then you just need to finish that off by doing another quotation mark. So it knows there's going to be a space in between whatever between A2 and then the last one. So we're going to select No, we're not. We're going to put in the ampersand, sorry, then select the cell, and then press enter, and it will put Ned Smith in there. And then we just replicate that down so that it's going to complete the list for us. So you can see that A3, and there's a space, and then an ampersand, and then B3. It's a little bit of a complicated formula, but it will be in the guide. So it's just handy if you're tidying up any lists. You can use find and replace across an entire worksheet. So to do that, you press Control and F, and if I'm in the right sheet, there we go. And then you can also, so you can find anything in that workbook. So what you have to do is click More Options, or Options, and then you can change that to Workbook, so that you're going to search all of the tabs in that workbook for whatever it is. You can also then go on to Replace using that same function. So it's just entering what you want to replace it with in there, and then you can see it's already carried through my settings to do all the workbook as well. You can jump to the start or the end of a column as well really quickly. So if you've got a really big spreadsheet that you just want to get to the bottom of because you want to see just the end of it, if you press Control and then the down arrow at the up, well, I'm at the bottom of it at the moment, but if I press the up arrow, it'll go to the top, and if I press the down arrow, it'll go to the bottom. Now this will only go to where there's a break in the data. So if you've got an empty line, it will you'll need to press it again to override that to go to the next section. And then we've got chart previews. So on this data here, we are going to just highlight this data so that we can create a chart. If we just go to insert, you've actually got some nice new settings on here that's just new to 2013. And if you click, we're going to click on a bar chart, and then it actually just gives you a preview of how it's going to look before you click it, so you can actually pick which one you want, and without, so you can see which one best suits you, what you're looking to present, before you click on it, and that works for all of them. So you can do a pie chart or a bar chart. You can see which one you think's best. And that's the end of Excel. How's the chart looking?
No questions so far. Obviously blown away with what's shown.
might save until the end. That's fine. Okay. So next up, we've got Outlook. And something that some people don't notice, you might already know about this one, but you can quickly find your unread. Now, I've purposely left some unread emails in my mailbox. This is not how untidy my mailbox is. So if you click on unread just here on the top, you can then just see all of your unread emails in one go. So it's quite handy if you're coming back from leave, just to put it on unread, and then you can work through them, and they disappear off your list without you, just as soon as you've dealt with them. You can also use the filter email to filter by different things. So if you want to filter by things you've flagged, by attachments, you can do that here. So I'll just show you. So at the top in the find section, which is just under the address book, if you click on that, you can then have a look at, click on any of these, and you can also create some custom filters as well at the bottom. But yeah, you can see any with attachments, any that are flagged, any that are marked as important. You can filter on that as well. Another handy thing to set up with your emails for dealing with any emails that you've got and quick repetitive tasks is to set up your quick steps. So that's this section here, and it just means that with a single click you can move or do something with an email. So I could move that into this folder, or I could forward this to my manager. I can do anything I want. You can create new ones in that section as well, and that's really useful when you set that up. Another quick thing you can do is if you want to have a meeting about something or do anything like that. So I'm just going to pick this email here. If I drag this email over to calendar, So about this Captivate training, it will post the email into the, you can't see it, hang on, drag it over. It'll create an appointment for that email, and then you can just add your attendees and things like that and put your times in. Let's close that down. You can also, if you do the same thing here, you can, if I just grab this and take it down to people, it will create a contact for that person, so you don't have to navigate and find it and then type everything in. It will populate some of the information. So if you've got something, I think if there's anything in their signature, it will put that on screen for you. So if they've put their, which I don't think there is, it should pull through quite a lot of information off of that that screen. Sorry, I've realised it's on the other screen. There it is. Yeah, you can see there that it's created a contact up from that email. Let's close that down. Cool. So we've got some shortcuts that you can use in Outlook. So you've got Control R, which puts a reply into the email. So it just opens up a reply. I mean, you can still use the items at the top, but it's quite handy. And you've got Control Shift and M to create a new email. I'm sorry, I think everything's opening up on my screen. Yeah, 1 sec. It's just come up there. And then you've got loads of other different ones that we'll include in the guide. I won't go through them all just now, but there is a lot more you can do. And that's the end of Outlook. Have we got any questions?
Nothing yet.
Okay. Okay. I don't know how many people use OneNote. So OneNote is a handy tool. I'm just gonna go into here for making notes. As it says, it's really useful. You can record audio and video in here. You can do all sorts of things, and it's something that's some people use really well. Some people haven't really seen it before. So you can create a workbook, and then you can have different tabs within that workbook. So I've got one for training, and then you can just create, I've got one for each system that we're training in on there. You can also actually do some quick maths and quick calculations in OneNote. So if I just enter in 456 plus 963, and if I put in equals, press enter, it'll do that for me. So it's like a quick calculator, and it will do more or less anything you want. So if I want to do 42 divided by 6 equals, and it'll do that as well. You can also share notebooks between each other. So if you save it in a shared location, everyone in your team can access workbooks. So it's quite handy to have if you've got a group of people that are doing maybe a specific course and they can put their notes in. You can do that. But you can actually password protect a specific sheet if you want to. So you can right click on the tab and then go down to password protect this section, and then it'll ask you to set a password. And then you can do that so that you can have your own little area where people can't see it other than you, or just certain people can see it. So if they've got managers that maybe have their own little area, they can protect that from everyone else. You can also have a meeting appointment put straight into OneNote. So if I closed Outlook, didn't I? Just give me a second. I'll just open it again. Bear with me, it's taken a long time. I think it's having a Friday moment. Yeah, so what I can do from here is, from my calendar, is open up a meeting. So we'll go with today's session. So if I open this up, And then now that I've got OneNote, I can actually just click on there and take my own notes. So if I just click on meeting notes at the top, then take my own notes, and then it'll come up with your recent picks in here, but you can also just then open up your workbooks and put it into wherever you want. I'm just going to put it into the office one. And what it'll do is it will take through the appointment and who's there. And yeah, that's the security warning that you get. And then you can enter your notes in just in here. So it gives you a title and everything like that for you to enter your notes. You can then also email this page to people. So if you've taken notes for a meeting or anything like that, and you want to share it with other colleagues, at the home menu, you've got email page. So if I click on email page, I can then email my notes on to, it will automatically put it to, if you've done it for a meeting, it will automatically put them as the recipients, but you can obviously change that and you just send it when you're ready. What you can also do, which is really quite useful, is from an email, you can import that into OneNote. I'm just trying to see what we've got. I'll just put in this staff news. So I'm just going to drag this onto OneNote. So I'm just going to drag this down and hover over OneNote, and then it'll open, and then I can drag it onto the page. And then it'll ask me if I want to attach a file or insert as a printout. So if you attach the file, it'll just put an attachment for you to open. And if you put it as a printout, which I'll click, it'll put it like it would do if you were going to print it out on a printer. And it will come up with printing, but it's just going to print it to this file. Just to give it a second. It's actually quite a big email, so it'll take a little minute. But then that's appeared in this page, and you can then read it from here. And that's Microsoft Teams. That's OneNote even. Have we got any questions, Pete?
Yeah, we've got one question from Kate Holiday on how do you find OneNote?
Okay. Do you want to answer this one?
If you want a demo in there, you can sure just.
Yeah, I was going to say I'll demo. Yep. So you just go to start, and then the easiest way to do anything with this is actually just to straight away type it in. So if you click on the start menu, then just press 1, start typing in 1. You should have OneNote as an app. It should be already on your computer. If it's not, it may be that it should be on Windows 10. If you're not on Windows 10,
Depends
it may not
where
be
they
there.
work. So
Yeah.
they may need to speak to their IT.
Yeah, if it's not there, just let IT know you want it, because it did come as standard as part of the previous or my rollout. I got it as standard.
Just got it.
Yeah, great.
Great.
Cool. Anything else?
That's it from now.
Okay. So last one, we've got PDFs, and there's some key tools with PDFs. So I'm just going to open one up. So I'll just open this file up. So with PDFs, you can actually do a little bit of commenting and signing and things. So I'll just go down to a page that's got something on it. So yeah, we'll go down to collection data here. So at the side, I've got some tools here. So you can sign it here, or you can add comments. So if you click on here, what it'll do is it'll add a taskbar here in a minute. There it is. And you can do different things here. So the first one is comment. You've got highlight, you've got underline, strike through, add note to replace text, and various others. And we've got this one here for text box as well. That's quite useful. So we'll add a comment in. So all I do is I click comment on the comment box, and then I'm going to put a comment in here. So we'll put a comment on, and it opens up a little menu on the right hand side. So I can add a couple of comments just so you can see, and I will also highlight some text. So just highlight that, and you can actually add a comment to that text as well. So if you want to highlight a specific section and then write a comment, you can on there, and it appears on the screen. You can also cycle through each one. So obviously they're on the same page, but if I click on it, it'll take me to it. So if you had various comments throughout the document, you could navigate to them using that on there. So I'll just show you a couple of other things and how they work. So I've clicked strike through, I've highlighted the area, and then that one turns off after that. You have to click it again to get it to reactivate. And I'll just add a text box as well. I'll do that down here. And you can see there that it's appeared in the list, and I can just navigate to each one and it takes me straight to it. Another thing that's actually quite useful is adding a signature to a document. So you can actually electronically sign a PDF. So I will just, so I've clicked the signature on the right hand side, fill and sign, and it's given me the menu at the top. I'll just put it in a little gap here. If I click sign, so I've actually got one saved already. So I'll just delete that. So if I click the little plus and I'll add a signature, it'll come up and it'll ask me to type in my name. You will save it once you've done it once. And you can then change your style in the bottom right here. And you can see, you can have it a little bit clearer, or just change it up a little bit if you like. But I'll click apply. And then it should take me back to the screen, and then it's given me it to move around the screen as I please. You can see it's on my mouse cursor now. So I'm just going to put it here just because it's a suitable place. And then I've placed it in, and then you can resize it from here if it's a bit too big or too small. The new, well, with Word 2013, it's actually got a converter built in. So if I open a Word file and then I go to File and Open, it now opens PDFs. So I've opened this PDF before. So you would navigate to your document that you want to convert. And then if I click on it, oh, it's because I'm in it. Excuse me. No. All right, sorry, I'll do that again. File and open. And then I'll go to the PDF. And then it'll ask me if I want to convert it from PDF into Word. You might lose a little bit of formatting if you've got a lot of graphics and things. It just gives you that warning. So it is a converter. It's not perfect, but it does do a pretty good job. So as you can see, it's now open in Word. And then the document is now, for click editing, is now fully editable. It's doing it twice. I'll cancel that one because I clicked it twice. Yeah, so as you can see, the formatting is not quite right as the overview is kind of appearing on the bottom of the page. So it will need a little bit of tidying up, but yeah, you've got it there fully editable. It's not locked behind PDF. And that's PDFs. Have we got any questions? It's actually the end.
Yes, we have a question from Eleanor Clark, who's asking, do all computers have this when she opens a PDF? She doesn't have all these functions. So what I would say, Eleanor, is, I'm not sure where you work, sorry, you may need to contact your IT, as I would imagine your Adobe Reader's not been updated. Right, so Microsoft Edge. What's probably happened, she said she's got Microsoft Edge, so what's probably happened is when Adobe update's been rolled out, when Microsoft Edge was rolled out, that gets set to be your default reader for PDFs. And you can actually change this back to Adobe. So I think, Paul, can you demonstrate that?
Yeah, I can. So if you go to your file where you've got it saved, and then if it's in an email, you can do this as well, I think. You could right click on it and then go down to Open With and then change it to Adobe. It'll be Acrobat Reader, I think, is the one that most people will have.
Well, we'll have a look. There's a way you can actually change it as the default, because I think that opens it in that occasion, but there's a way of changing it the default. But
yeah,
we'll add those instructions to the tips and tricks. This is obviously, like I say, Edge took over the default, so we'll add that one in. So that's it for today's session. Does anyone have any questions about anything else? Feel free to pop your cameras on and unmute yourself if you want to. Okay,
Kate's
Okay.
put her hand up.
Hi. Yeah.
Hi.
So can I just ask, do you do kind of just basic a thing like a session just on Word and one on Excel and one on
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
How
Sorry, today a bit of a weird one today because we weren't entirely sure who would be coming to the session. So it was just a rough sort of guess at what would be interesting to people. So yeah, we do basic skills courses. We do introductory to Word and Excel and PowerPoint and all that sort of thing.
how do we get to those then? How do we?
What I can do is I can include that in the tips and tricks. We'll include a link to the
Yes,
training
please.
pages,
Yeah.
and
And it's not.
we've got guides
Yeah.
on there as well.
It's not just for me. It's obviously for other colleagues.
Can I just ask? I'm just curious, actually, if people can do a show of hands, how many people actually use OneNote in here today? Not a huge amount by the looks of it. Okay. We don't actually do training on OneNote. There's vast materials out there, but I was just curious as to whether it's something we should put a guide together and stick it on the intranet as well. I was just curious as to how many people use it. Okay, has anyone got any other questions or queries or comments or anything they want to say? Oh, and Kate would like a training guide. It is a very useful organization note-taking tool. I think it takes most people a little bit of time to get their heads around it as to how to organize it, but it is a very useful tool.
Yeah. Can I just ask, when it said it's got the recording function, what did you mean by, what does that mean?
So when you run record, if you go to record video, it will record out from your camera. So you can, have, if you're, wanting to record a face-to-face meeting or something, you can use it there, or you can record audio as well. So it'll pick up on whatever you've got plugged in. So if you've got a headset plugged in, it'll pick up from that as well. So you can just record talking or whatever, anything like that.
So if you were on a Teams meeting, and you weren't recording the Teams meeting, would you only record what you're saying, or would it record what everyone's saying?
I think it's the camera. I'll click it and see if I can change it.
If you use that, I think it would just record what you were doing.
Right.
My camera's not
You'd
working.
have to use the record meeting in Teams itself to record that.
Okay.
Like I say, once you, like I say, Paul's got it on the screen there. If you look on the left-hand side, you create notebooks. So these can be for different projects or for different topics or whatever you want to do. So when you create a notebook, and then in that notebook across the top you have these tabs, these different sections, and you can create as many of those as you like. So in Paul's example there, he's got different systems that we train in, and then for each one of those tabs, on the right hand side you can add pages. So you can add as many pages as you like. The pages basically just go on forever. For example, in my case, when I'm doing one-to-ones with my team, I have a tab for each of the team, and I have one page which is for one-to-ones. And each time I just go into the page and I add the date, and then I just put comments and notes below the date, and it just keeps scrolling down, and you just keep working on the same page. Or if it's a new topic for that particular person, I can just add a new page and give that page a title and just record the notes in there. And as Paul showed earlier, it's really useful. You can copy and paste text out of emails, or you can just dump the whole email in there, or you can take screen clippings.
It's got a screen tool.
I think if you were in the fancy world and had touch screen devices that would work with Microsoft, where they have money and stuff, you can actually hand write notes onto a tablet, and you can get it to convert it into written text as such, and that sort of thing. So it's a very useful tool. there's a lot to it though, and like I say, it's just getting your setup right in the first place. Like I say, it's setting the notebooks up, and then with each notebook you've got the tabs, and then within each tab you can create those pages. But again, we'll include some. There's some OneNote guides out there. I think there's some quite useful videos that walk you through on the basics of setup of OneNote. I was looking to see if we had a free course on the DLS, the Digital Learning Solutions platform, but they don't have anything on there for OneNote. But I'll include some links to that, and we'll get a guide on our pages as well. Great. Well, does anyone have any other questions? Anything else they'd like to ask? I mean, if you do, if there's anything you think of afterwards, obviously feel free to drop us an email or drop it or send it via Amy if you wish. Or like I say, you'll have our details when Amy circulates the guides anyway. So great stuff. Well, we'll wrap it up there. On behalf of myself and Paul, thanks very much for
Thank you.
Thanks very much for coming on. I hope it was semi-useful. Have a good day. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.